Here are 4 signs that you're living from an old identity. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to transform their lives almost overnight? They leave the relationship, they start that new business, they move to another country, they find love again, they finally put themselves first. People look at them and they say, "You're so brave. I wish I had your confidence. I could never do that." But what most people never see is this. The transformation didn't begin when they changed their life. It began when they recognized the unconscious pattern that had been running it. Because you cannot change what you cannot see. Most people think they're making conscious choices. They're not. They're making decisions through an identity that was created years ago, an identity that once kept them emotionally safe. The problem, life has moved on. The identity hasn't. So instead of creating the future, it keeps recreating the past. And here are 4 signs that you're living from that old identity. Number 1, you constantly second guess yourself. You make a decision, then immediately question whether it's the right one. You ask everyone else for their opinion because somewhere along the way, you stop trusting your own. That isn't wisdom. It's an identity that learned its own voice wasn't safe to listen to. Number 2, you know exactly what to do, but you don't do it. This one frustrates so many people. You know eating better would help. You know leaving the relationship is the right thing. You know you need to start. You know. Yet somehow you don't move. People call this laziness. I don't. I call it protection. Your nervous system is choosing familiarity over uncertainty. Not because you lack discipline in any way, because your identity believes staying the same is safer than becoming someone new. Number 3, you feel guilty whenever you choose yourself. You finally say no. You create a boundary. You rest. You spend money on yourself. You ask for what you need. And instead of feeling free, you feel guilty. Why? Because somewhere in your life, you learned that love was earned through sacrifice. So every act of self-respect feels like selfishness. It isn't. It's simply unfamiliar. And number 4, you confuse familiarity with truth. This one is the quietest and perhaps the most dangerous. Just because something feels familiar doesn't make it true. A familiar relationship can still be unhealthy. A familiar job can still be draining your soul. A familiar way of thinking can still be keeping you small. Your brain often mistakes familiar for safe, but they're not always the same thing. Sometimes what's familiar is simply what you've survived. And awareness changes everything. The moment you recognize these patterns, you stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" And you start asking, "Where did I learn this?" That single question, it changes your relationship with yourself. It replaces shame with curiosity, judgment with understanding, reaction with choice. And that is where real transformation begins. You think you're stuck. You're not. You're simply living from the version of yourself that was built to survive a life you've already outgrown. You don't need to become someone else. You need to stop letting yesterday decide who you get to be today. This week, I'm opening just 2 places for people who know something has to change, but can't quite see what's keeping them where they are. In a one-on-one human reset conversation, we'll uncover the unconscious pattern that has quietly been making your decisions and explore what your next step could look like. If this post felt like it was describing you, send the word reset or comment ready below. Sometimes your next breakthrough isn't about trying harder. It's about finally seeing what has been there all along.